I'm going to call our meeting to order tonight, our regularly scheduled Board of Commissioners meeting. Before we get to anything, I just want to say real quick, the room is full and there's a lot of new faces. So I'll just let everybody know so we could set expectations. It is your right to be here and witness this, and quite frankly, we're glad that you are. We're happy that you're all here to be a part of this. That being said, it is not your right to be disruptive during it. We'll have an opportunity during public comment for anyone to address pretty much anything they want to address, and then we have 2 public hearings tonight. That'll be your chance for input. Otherwise, we have a lot on the agenda tonight, and so we'd appreciate if you remain quiet and let us work through it as quick as we can. So with that, we're going to start with Pledge of Allegiance, and we have our own Ty Pearson here tonight. If you've had anything to do with the sports program, you already know who he is. He's been with the town for a long time, and I'm honored to have him here tonight.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Ty. For invocation tonight, we've got George Miser. I don't know if he's hiding. Oh, right in front, right in plain sight. All right, George, lead us.
Dear Heavenly Father, today was an opportunity for us to vote to make it a better community, a better state we live in. We're fortunate to live in probably the most gracious place on earth, here in Angier. More than that, we're led by the most amazing people. We're gifted to have true leaders here tonight. We ask as we move forward tonight that we remember in unity as leaders, we get so much more done. We ask for your guidance, we ask for your love, and we ask that you give us direction. And most of all, we ask that you look forward to helping us get the town further ahead. Amen.
Thank you, George. All right, let's get approval of the agenda out of the way. Hopefully I don't screw that up tonight. We have all read the agenda, I believe. Does anyone here have any amendments to the agenda? All right, then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion that we accept the agenda as written.
All right, all those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed? 3-1, it passes. All right, let's move. Public comment is next on our list, but I was told we do not have anyone signed up for tonight. So, yes. That's okay. That's fine. Just make sure you leave your name and address with the clerk. But we'll allow it, I think. Is that all right with you guys?
Yeah.
Did Mr. Warner want to speak? He sent an email earlier today.
No, he's good. He talked to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
Come on up, Rhonda, if you want to.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, we couldn't find a parking place.
That's all right. Give us your name and address, and we'll record that.
Rhonda Powell, 92 North Dunn Street. I just wanted to, and there may not be anything that can be done, but we've got 5 ducks living in our yard now, and I didn't know if there's a way we can corral them and get them back to the park because they are really getting in a lot of trouble in the neighborhood. So
Yeah.
if that can happen, that would be great. But I did want to follow up. I spoke to Mr. Cook about our ditch at the last town function that we had.
Okay.
And he said he was going to follow up with me, and I know he's busy, but I would like to see if he can get with me. That ditch I can't maintain it. I'm just not physically able to maintain it. And he said he would look at it. Maybe we can get some stones or something put in there to kind of clean it up and make it a little better. So he has my name and number, so hopefully he'll be able to do that. And we can get that straight. And I see on the agenda that in your new business, number 6 is going to be discussed. So thank you for that, and thank you for listening to my letter that I sent you. Thank you.
I'll defer your concerns to Elizabeth, and we'll follow up on that
Okay.
later this week. Thank you. All right, if there's no more public comment, then we'll move to the consent agenda. We have approval of minutes, and we have Christmas tree and lights. I'll talk about that briefly so everyone knows what it is. Was curious to know what the expense was to make our Christmas tree taller, because I knew that we had purchased a tree that was expandable for that reason, and to change the lights on it to a warmer tone. And they looked into that, and it happens to actually be on sale right now because it's off season. It's not Christmas. So that's what that agenda item is. Do you guys have any discussion about consent agenda item? Jimmy, how much taller is that section going to get us? Do you know off the top of your head? About another 4 feet.
That's it.
You want two? You want two sections, Jim?
On 10 feet.
10 feet.
Oh, I'm big.
Well, we'll start with this, and then we'll
Okay.
look into that. It's curious. It's good to know.
Just like a big tree.
I could never have a tree that's too big, so we'll talk about that. For right now, let's work on this 4 foot one, and then
Okay.
we'll talk about that. All right. If there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
I make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. It's unanimous. All right. Rolling right through. We have 2 public hearings tonight that address the same parcel. I believe Mr. Jeff Jones is going to present that to us. Let me first open the public hearing, right?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. Tonight we have 2 public hearings. One is for an annexation of property along Kennebec Road, and for a rezoning to initial zoning of this property now that it's being annexed into town. So we'll first take care of the annexation. These are the 2 properties here on the screen where the arrows are pointing. It's approximately 18.68 acres that will be annexed into town. Part of these tracts, this is the county line right here. So part of these tracts do sort of bleed over a little bit, especially this one right here goes to this part right here. So part of it's already in Harnett County, and part of it, most of it's in Wake County. So we do have that annexation request for you all, and it's been advertised and went through the whole process to get to you all tonight. I can entertain any questions that you might have.
Also, just to clarify, for right now, we're simply deciding on annexing this
Correct.
property into Andrew.
That's correct.
Do any of you guys have any questions for Jeff while we have him up here?
I will say that this is not a satellite annexation, that the Camden Place properties that is here and here, and again, once you annex this, this will be contiguous to the town limits.
We like to see that.
Yes, this is a natural progression out of the town.
All right, well, if nobody's got a question for him now, we'll open it up to the public. If they have any comments about this annexation, now's a good time. We're here to hear you. All right. It's a pretty straightforward one.
It is. This is the annexation plat, and you'll see that the county line runs right here, and this triangle piece has a little bit that's already in Wake County. I mean, in Harnett County's area. So this is the annexation map here, and again, it's approximately 18.68 acres
That's combined or just one?
combined. Those
Combined.
2 parcels.
All right, then one last chance, guys. If you have any other questions for him, I'm going to close the public hearing. And I'll ask if you guys have any other discussion, but it doesn't seem like it. So if not, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we go ahead and annex the 18.68 acres.
Okay? All those in favor, raise your right hand. It's unanimous. All right, Jeff,
All right.
let me open the public hearing for this one.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm learning this stuff. I'm going to get it.
Thank you,
Couple
Mayor,
more
members
years.
of the board. We have a rezoning request for newly annexed property into the town. The property that you just annexed is requesting to initially zone into Anger as R830. That's our highest zoning, residential zoning right now, it's currently Wake County R30. And so this is sort of in keeping with what's currently out there in its initial zoning. There may be a further zoning or action that will come in the future, but to bring it into the town and have it as town zoning, R830 is that initial zoning.
All right. So just to be clear, the density is going to remain the same. We're just going to make it officially an Anger zoning class
Correct.
for tonight. That's what
For
we're
tonight.
considering.
Yep. And if there's any additional zoning changes in the future, those will be advertised and there will be a public hearing for those in the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions for Jeff about this?
The planning board did recommend approval at their February board meeting.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there anyone from the public who would like to address this rezoning tonight? Again, it seems pretty straightforward. We're not technically changing the density about this. It's just Wake County R30, and because we have annexed it, we're going to make it Anger R30.
Right.
Right?
Right.
All right. With that, then I'll close the public hearing. And if you guys are comfortable with where we're at, we can take a motion.
I make a motion to approve the rezoning request to RA30.
All those in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Thank you,
board.
Jeff.
Thank you.
All right. Moving into old business. Elizabeth, we tasked you with, just starting a new department.
Sure.
No big deal. So if you could present to us what you've got about our inspections department.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor and Board. We spoke about this issue that we have a contract with Harnett County, which expires at the end of this fiscal year, June 30th, and that we needed to put into place a plan to address the numerous inspections that the town has with the growth that we've had. After discussion with Jeff, the proposal is to add one position with some duties shifting to other employees. We would be looking to hire a level 2 building inspector who would continue taking classes to get certified at the level 3 in all of the trades. Shannon Hodges, who is our code enforcement officer, would be reclassified to building inspector trainee. We are in the process of hiring a planner 1 who is going to take on code enforcement responsibilities, and that is typical job duty of a planner 1 throughout the municipal world. Our current permit tech will take on the role of deputy clerk and serve as the clerk for the planning board. The department is self-sustaining. You all set the fees for these inspections every year. Last year, we collected, bear with me. According to our audit, we collected $484,663 in this category. And so you can see the total cost on page 3. The first year estimated cost is $257,287. We will need to purchase software because we're starting from zero. And so that cost is broken out for your first year, $55,600, and then annually just over $23,000. Keep in mind that as you add employees and add users, that cost might go up, but they have a package. So depending on how many users you have on the software, that cost may increase. So I am happy to answer any questions that you might have. The staff recommendation is to direct us to move forward with recruitment and hiring and the purchase of software.
Okay. Is this going to be created under the current planning department?
Under the planning and
Okay.
zoning department, yes, that's correct.
Have you spoken with some of the staff whose roles might be changing to prepare them for this?
Yes.
So just to clarify for the audience, last fiscal year, and you correct me if I understood any of this wrong, we took in $486,000 in permit fees, which are pretty much restricted to being spent kind of within that department.
484, but yes.
484, I'm sorry. This year, it looks like we're tracking over 5.
That is correct.
About halfway through, and we're past our projected halfway point. So our first year expenses for this are about 257,
Yes.
which includes, an initial upfront cost for the software that won't be recurring.
That's right.
So still, it seems to me like a very cautious entry into this endeavor where we're still going to be operating with a surplus in this specific department of $250,000. So to me, it seems prudent. I like that, when we first talked about this, we talked about potentially 3 staff members and 3 new trucks. And,
Right.
That's a much larger commitment. But if you and the staff that will be affected by this feel confident that it'll work this way, at least to start. And then, of course, if we know that we need more staff, we can address that. We've certainly got the budget to do so, it seems like. So, do any of you guys have any questions for Elizabeth about this? This one is kind of a big deal.
Does this set us up to meet the deadline that we're looming of June in terms of hiring? I know that's a lengthy process. Are we going to be right on top of that? Do you foresee us?
So we're going to be right on top of that. We've
Okay.
spoken to some potential candidates who are interested.
Okay.
That is out of my control.
Right.
I can try to recruit anyone to come work for the town of Angier, but ultimately that piece is out of my hands. So what I would say is that we're going to speak again to these candidates and that we're going to get started building the software right away, but I can't tell you when we'll have someone in place.
Is there a fallback with the county? Should we not meet that? And
There has been some conversation, but there is not a formal proposal.
I know that there was discussion about us being competitive for a workplace for someone.
Yes.
So I know that when we that was taken into consideration, looking at salary and benefits and things like that. That was some question I had when we initially discussed it. This is nice and clean and very easy to understand. So thank you for.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it looks like the proposed salary point for the level 2 we're trying to hire is,
It's
almost 10,000 more than some of our other local jurisdictions.
That's
so
correct.
we're
But
certainly
this
competitive.
individual will be having a supervisory role over the building inspector trainee. And so we wanted to be competitive, and we wanted to take into account that there is additional task when you're supervising someone.
I think it's fair. And all the other stuff, the software, the truck, anything else that we'd need. Is there any problem meeting the July 1st deadline for any of that stuff?
Citizen Serve did not anticipate any problems. However, they have to take GIS from Wake and GIS from Harnett to build our platform. So I don't anticipate any problems, but I'm not a software engineer. So
Okay.
they know that our deadline is fast approaching.
That's fine. And I've checked into Citizen Serve. They offer just having their software at our disposal will help us automate a lot of stuff, I think.
We're
right?
also getting a module for the code enforcement to make that process easier.
And then they can expand services too
They have
as
other
we
services. That's right.
come into the 21st century.
Yes.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions? Then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve this position.
All right. All those in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Thank you, Elizabeth. New business. Samantha is going to present to us budget amendment number 5 for the purchase of water meters. It seems like we probably need water meters to sell water meters.
Good evening.
Hey.
So we need to purchase more water meters for Public Works to install with all the new neighborhoods. Unfortunately, our original budget did not include the massive expansion we've had. But with that, we have had increase in additional revenue from the water meter for this fiscal year, and we're already above our projection for the entire year. We also have our water regulatory fees, which are above our projection for the entire year. So my recommendation is to increase our budget for revenue for the water regulatory fees by 13,000. So the amended budget would be 153 instead of 140. And for the water meter revenue to increase by 30,000, which would bring it to 111 instead of 81. And this would give us the extra 43,000 we need for the purchase of the additional meters for the year.
All right. So I'm just going to have you dumb it down for me to make sure I get it. This is not a budgeting error so much as we sold more meters than we thought we were gonna.
We had more properties that were built in more sites, so we needed more meters to meet that accommodation. So it was just growth we did not anticipate having at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. And this is good. This is a self-sustaining thing. I mean, we buy meters for the purpose of selling meters.
Yes.
So
as we've been getting the money in, we're just putting it back out so we can buy more to get more money in.
fine. That's why we have you here to help us move it around. Me at work, I need water meters. I buy water meters. But this is our job. So does anyone else have any questions for Samantha about the water meters?
I think that pretty much sums it up.
All right. Then I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve budget amendment number 5 to record additional revenue earned and increase the meter purchase expense fund.
All right. All those in favor, raise your hand. That's unanimous. Next, Faith is going to present to us on the American Rescue Plan project ordinances. Say that 5 times fast.
Good evening. Back in December, the board voted and approved the policies that were needed to expend the American Rescue Plan funds. I told you I would be back in a few weeks to show you the ordinances. So that's what I have before you today. These ordinances are required so that we can take the funds that we have, which currently accumulate to about $15 million, I believe, and spend the funds, start working on the projects that we have identified with the Division of Water Infrastructure. And so these ordinances, there's 5 of them. They are the Junie Road Water Tower, a core replacement, a wastewater treatment plant capacity purchase, a mitigation measure, and then one that you see is called revenue replacement. And so I'll go in line, just explain a little bit more about what they are. The revenue replacement is $1.725 million that we received directly from the U.S. Treasury, and it has been decided that we will be using this to replace law enforcement revenues. And so we are going back to April 1st, 2023, I believe, is the day we chose, all the way to, or 2021, to December 31st, 2023, replacing revenues. That way we free up the money that we have, the 1.725, and then we can decide what project we want to spend that on. It's kind of a loophole that the U.S. Treasury decided that if you have a certain amount of money, you don't know what to use it for, replace the revenues, use it for whatever you want. There's the core replacement ordinance, which is $4.25 million from the Division of Water Infrastructure, and it has been shown from our engineer that there are water mains that are corroding in town. We need to replace those desperately. DWI said that we can use this money to spend on that. The water tower is about $2.45 million. We all know that we need more water in this town. We're rapidly growing. We're going to need to expand the water storage that we have, and that will be spent on a 500,000 gallon elevated water tank on Junie Road. The wastewater treatment plant capacity purchase, which is about $9.73 million. We have $6.11 million from DWI, and then we are putting up $3.35 from our capital reserve. This is going to be used with Fuquay and Lillington to expand the Harnett Regional water capacity. So just
If I may, just for a moment, the total cost of that project is closer to 15.5. This is just recognizing the ARPA money that was appropriated through the legislature.
yes. So that is 6.11 is currently what we have from the legislature. And then the fifth ordinance is mitigation measure number 3. We received $400,000 from DWI. The town is putting up $400,000 as well, and that is just to increase capacity for road culverts on South Broad Street and Hidden Acres Estates. And so, as Elizabeth said, the core replacement, water tower, and wastewater plant capacity purchase, those are not complete ordinances that you'll see. They're partial ordinances. So those are not the total amounts that the projects will cost. This is the funds that we currently have. We are waiting for about 8.73 still from the General Assembly for their last budget. And so once we get those in, those ordinances can be amended and can match the complete project total.
All right, so the reason you're bringing this to us tonight is that it is a requirement for us to have these ordinances in place so that we can use this money.
Yes, if we don't have these, we cannot spend the money.
Well, let's do some ordinances then. Does anyone have any questions for Faith?
Aside from the acknowledgement that you've been very busy, and I appreciate your diligence in this.
Thank you.
All right. Well, if nobody else has any questions for Faith, then we'll entertain a motion.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve it as it's written.
All right. All those in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous.
Thank
All
you.
right. Jeff says you have to come back up here and talk to us about the pedestrian plan steering committee.
Sir. Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. Tonight, we have an update on our pedestrian plan. Staff, along with DOT, selected Alta Planning and Design to be the town's consultant. I met with those folks in DOT over the last few weeks, and part of the DOT's process of updating our pedestrian plan or having a pedestrian plan that's funded by DOT is to have a steering committee. And DOT puts forth some suggestions of who might serve on that steering committee, pertinent town staff, being it Parks and Rec, Public Works, Planning, someone from the manager's office. So we've put those we've put those folks before you. Myself would be on this steering committee. We also, DOT also likes to see, us try to do some outreach to citizens in the committee, and we did a web page advertisement trying to solicit some folks to join the steering committee. We did receive 2 applications.
Okay.
So one from Mindy Mazaga and Alex Babbitt. And part of the steering committee in the past, at least for Anger, has been a representative from the town board and the planning board. So you all have the opportunity to be a part of the planning process as well. The steering committee will meet over the next 12 months at least 3 times, could be more, to discuss the process and sort of give input into the process of the pedestrian plan, to discuss drafts of the plan that Alta will be developing for the town, and then to go through the plan once it's finalized and make any suggestions that we might need to see. Part of the planning process would be Alta Design coming through, doing an inventory and evaluation of our current system, and would be in town during town events, potentially to engage with the citizens either through a survey and or in person to gain feedback on what needs to be corrected from a pedestrian standpoint. So what we are asking you all to do tonight is to sort of say, yep, we need a steering committee, and yes, these are the appropriate folks who would be on the steering committee, and to maybe think about having one of you all join us and asking a planning board member to join as well. These meetings will be mostly held during the day. There would be some evening time, especially if we're presenting to you all or the planning board through that process. But the steering committee usually meets during the day, so that takes into account your all's involvement. But we'd love to have someone from the town board as part of the process.
All right. Do we need to actually approve this board or just fill it?
I think you just fill it.
Okay.
This is a one-time thing. It's not going to be an
Yeah.
annual board or anything. This
Yep.
board won't continue on after the plan's adoption.
Yeah.
It's really an acknowledgement that this is the appropriate folks to serve on a steering committee, and to, I think these citizens who have expressed interest, you might want to say, yes, we appoint you to serve on the steering committee.
Yeah.
But staff and DOT and representatives and Campo representatives, they're going to be a part of the process regardless.
Okay.
We need those voices at the table.
All right. Well, I think it would be appropriate if Mindy and Alex are here tonight, if they want to come address us. Come on, Mindy. We'll do Mindy first and then you. I don't imagine this will be too harsh. Thank you for volunteering. We've got your application, but as we know, you can't learn everything off a piece of paper. So if you don't mind, just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in this.
Well, my main interest in this committee is because I have 3 sons that are in wheelchairs. And we have noticed over the years, we lived here 19 years, but we lived 9 years in downtown. My youngest son, James, likes to go to Hardee's, but beyond Hardee's, there's no sidewalks, which makes it very difficult for my boys to get around in downtown Andrew. So that's really my main interest, is to maybe affect some change, put in some more sidewalks, just to make the community more accessible for people with, physical impairments, because it's not only my sons, it might be other people that are physically disabled. So that's my main interest.
It sounds like you have a vested interest in this.
I really do.
That's great.
I do.
Do you guys want to move to a pointer now while we have her up here? Or?
I just had a question. So I see you're a teacher by profession, bless you. I wanted to ask if it's can accommodate your schedule for a daytime meeting, and if that limits your ability to join, and what's your thoughts on that?
I'll be done school in a couple of months.
Okay.
But I am more than willing to make the commitment to take a day off, or this is I'm passionate about this.
Yes.
So that trumps my employment.
Very good. Very good. Just wanted to make sure that because I didn't know if that was on the application kind of initially what the commitment would be. So, yeah. Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else have any questions for her? Okay. You want to make a motion to appoint her?
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we appoint Mindy to the Pedestrian Steering Committee.
All right. All those in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Alex. I think most of us already know who you are, but I'm going to make you do it anyway. And just tell us why this board.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Alex Babbitt. I own Carolina Trash and Septic. I've worked in Anger since 2015. Our office is right here on East William Street. I spend a lot of time walking around the downtown area, seeing it evolve, and love to see how it's evolving. Spend a lot of time walking to various mechanics around town too, the nature of our business and with trucks, and just spend a lot of time just around downtown in general. It's not, in certain areas it's great. Right here, it's great. But once you kind of leave this, it's really lacking, and there's a lot of great businesses, and there's, I feel like once a day I'm having to slam on my brakes because someone's crossing 55, and, we kind of hopefully can get a better system so it's safe for everyone throughout town to enjoy everything in the town limits.
Yeah. Well, thank you for applying to this board, too. We always appreciate anyone willing to help out, but you've stepped up on multiple occasions, so.
Well, I'm trying to, give back because I spend more time in this kind of mile radius than anywhere else on earth, so.
Yeah, we appreciate it. All right. Anyone got any questions for Mr. Babbitt? All right.
Daytime commitment, that's not a problem with enough notice, so.
Great. Well, do we have a motion then?
I make a motion that we appoint Alex to the steering committee.
All right. All those in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous.
All right,
Thank you,
for your
Alex.
time.
Thank you.
Is there anyone up here that would like to volunteer to fill a board position on this?
I will volunteer to serve on the pedestrian steering committee.
All right. Are there any others that would like to volunteer? All right. Well, somebody make a motion then.
I only had the motions to appoint the members. I think the committee stands now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you all.
Okay.
Mel is good volunteering.
Okay.
You all, she may not be able to attend a meeting, so we don't need to really appoint her.
That's fine.
Yeah.
She may.
How do we loop a planning board member into this?
I'm going to reach out to those folks.
Okay.
So as long as y'all are good with a planning board member being on the committee,
Yeah.
then I will do that outreach.
All right. Don't let them off the hook.
I won't,
Okay.
won't do that.
I'm really glad they wanted to encourage community input as well.
Yeah.
It's a good learning experience. So
Well, ultimately, what the plan will do will identify projects that we can apply for funding and get some of these gaps that we've heard about tonight constructed. So
Yeah.
that's really what the plan helps us do is plan for the future and identify projects that we can get funding for grants or whatnot, grants especially, to get some of these projects taken care of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's been kind of a theme lately, is trying to get everyone else's input and not just assume
Right.
we know which way to do it. So this is another step in that process.
And I've actually worked with Alta Planning before. I did the exact same plan in Pittsburgh with these same folks, so they're good.
How are their sidewalks now, Jeff?
I haven't been back in a little while, but we did a plan,
Okay.
and
Okay.
they should be a little bit better.
All right. Well, I guess that wraps up that agenda item then.
Well, thank y'all.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right. Veronica, going to come up here. We are going to be interviewing and appointing for the Parks and Rec Advisory Board.
Yes. So in January, the board approved an ordinance to allow for a Parks and Rec Advisory Board, as well as adopting the bylaws for this board. Since then, we have collected 10 applications. We're in need of 7 members to fulfill this board. Is Shauna Ingram here? No? Okay, I just wanted to make a note of 2 things. Chelsea, who's on the list, she's out of town, so she will answer any questions you may have if you have any. And multiple attempts have been made to contact Miss Ingram with no success, so I just wanted to.
Okay.
know. But you have the list in front of you for the ones that have applied.
I do. Well, I'm going to go top to bottom here. Christine Ganji. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. You could correct me. I'm not too proud. Ganji. All right. We have got your application and we've read it, but we'd like to hear from you.
Sure. So my name's Christine Ganji. I have lived in Anger for going on 3 years now. When my husband and my son and I moved here, the first thing that we scoped out was parks in the area to kind of get to know people. And of course, Jack Marley was one of the parks that we frequent often. I wanted to get involved in this board specifically because we are at the parks a lot, whether we're taking our dogs for a walk. My son plays soccer every season, so we're down there multiple times, plus watching our friends' kids play, or even playing Pokemon Go, walking around, getting to get some fresh air. But I will also, since I'm involved with the recreation department, with my son playing soccer, I just want to continue to be able to support the board because we are so involved with it. I want it to be an area where people that are moving here or visiting, they want to go and see the area and walk around and enjoy the sights and just kind of be able to do exactly what we've done and enjoy the area.
All right. Anyone have any questions for her?
thank you for your willingness.
No problem.
That's it. They'd let you off easy. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll move down to Walter Honeycutt. If you're here tonight. Mr. Honeycutt, again, thank you for applying and willing to do your part to help us out. We've read your application too, but please give us a sense of yourself. Tell us why you're here.
Well, again, thank you. My name is Walter Honeycutt. I live a little bit closer to Anger than I do Lillington, but kind of right there in the middle. I'm currently a full-time high school teacher at Fuquay, and I started teaching back in 2013. And up to that point, my wife and I both have been heavily involved in organizations such as Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. And when I started teaching, I had to devote a lot of time to pursuing my personal education. And now that I'm on the other side of that, it's time to look to give back in some way, in some method. And I heard about this opportunity, and I was looking for others as well, but I saw this one come along. I thought that this would be a great chance to plug in and get back into that mix and giving back to the community, especially where youth, such a vital part of our community, are involved.
Well, again, we very much appreciate your willingness to work with us on this. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Honeycutt?
Nope.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Honeycutt.
All right, thank you.
Eric Reinhold. Did I say that right, or is the H silent?
Now, I don't know if you said the H or not.
Ryan-
So it works, 'cause
Reinhold.
everybody gets it wrong.
Reinhold.
That's it.
Okay, perfect. Tell us about yourself, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm Eric Reinhold. I've lived in Anger probably 20 years now. Really have enjoyed my time here, and I work in the sports profession. I'm a regional director with the YMCA of the Triangle. My job often is coaching coaches. I know about safe sports certifications. I've coached challenging competitive soccer teams. Also won an award with the Aspen Institute for Sport and Society in their Project Play. One of my projects was a 21 Project Play champion. And way back when my kids were young, I have a child at Carolina. He's a junior and a junior in high school. And they're getting to the end of their sports careers, and I'm soon to be an empty nester, and it's just an opportunity to give back of something that I feel I could be an asset to the town in. And going back, and I even think back of U6 basketball might have been the very first thing, and I know I have, she's playing volleyball in college, but I know one of my kids that I coached in Anger is a college athlete, even to this day.
Great. So you did something right somewhere along the way.
Somewhere. Well, I've got a lot of college athletes now, but that was through AU. I'm also familiar with AU basketball programs, competitive soccer. So I just think it's time to give back.
Yeah. Well, thank you for offering your experience to help us out with this board.
Yeah.
Anyone have a question for him while we got him up here?
Thank you.
All right.
welcome.
Mr. Reinhold, thank you. Amy Dragata.
Hey guys.
We have no idea who you are, so you're going to have to start from the beginning and just walk us through your whole life.
Okay, I can do that. We have all night. So I've lived here about 4 years. I've taught special ed since 2008. Very invested in children and their families and their interests, and I feel like Parks and Rec ties in really closely to that. I've also coached Parks and Rec since we've been here, basketball and soccer. I have lots of ideas for fundraising for Parks and Rec. I feel like our town, with the expansive growth that we've had, has gotten almost to the point where we've outgrown Parks and Rec needs to grow with the town. And so I would love to be a part of that.
Great. Thank you for offering yourself to this. Does anyone have any questions for her?
Are always needed.
Yes.
Yeah. They always ask me, I always say no because I don't know much about sports. So I think I would hurt more than I helped. But
The difficult parents is what makes coaching hard,
Is it?
for the record. So if you guys could just not be difficult as parents, that
hold on, let
we
me
might
write
have
that
more
down.
coaches.
Be nice again. Okay. Got it. Thank you, Amy.
Yes.
Chuck Carey, are you here tonight? There he is. Mr. Carey,
Yes.
tell us about yourself.
All right. My name is Chuck Carey. We live on Blair Drive in Anger, and I moved here in 2016, mainly because my son had a business here and came to help him and help out with. Now they have 7 grandchildren. I have 7 grandchildren. They have 7 children. They started out with 2 when they got here, so Must be a good
Something in the
place to
water.
raise kids. So,
Yeah.
Something in the water.
he needs to get a hobby, right? But he needs to get on a board.
We need to get him on a board, it sounds like.
But I'm
He
sorry.
sounds busy.
He is busy, that's right. But anyways, they live in Willow Spring. But and I'll be honest, they come over here because they live in the county. They don't have any place. So my wife takes the kids to the library here. They've all played soccer, basketball, little league, cheerleading, and it's awesome. And we watch, and we're always down there watching them. My wife's an avid walker. She gets up too early for me to walk, but she walks a lot. And we used to go around Jack Marley Park, and we love it, And before we moved here, I like to serve. I serve in my church. I never coached anything. I played hockey for 30 years, but not a lot of that going on right here. But I never coached anything, but I've always been part of my kids' stuff and my grandparents' stuff, and just being outdoors. I don't like to be stuck in the house. My wife says I join things that like the outdoors because I don't want to do any projects around the house, but that's not it. That's not the whole reason.
It's for your health, though. You tell her it's for your health, right?
Yeah. Huh?
Okay, for your health, fresh
But,
air.
No, I like to serve, and whatever I can do to help. I want to be part of if I'm going to live in the community, I want to be part of the fix, or if it's not broken, just making it better or something.
Yeah.
But we enjoyed it. I'm just excited to hear about the new park, and all that. And like I said, we like to ride bikes, walk. So, it's got to be good for the kids to play. It's got to be for old people. It's got to be for the whole community, right? So
Yeah.
that's all I got to say. I know I talked too much, but
No, that's fine. So this board is not just for sports, so we definitely need insight on the recreation part and the parks part, and so.
A lot of places for people to go and just be together, right?
Yeah.
So that'd be cool.
Well, we're honored that you would apply for this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Karen Dupree Williams. Miss Williams, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Karen Dupree Williams. Live right outside of Andrew off of 210. I have been part of the Parks and Rec since I was a child myself. I am super excited about the progression of it. Currently, I have a son that's in Parks and Recs. I've coached, we sponsor, we do all of those things. But I think the biggest part of me is looking at the progression as we talk about all these water meters and all these things coming in. They're coming with kids. And I'm really, truly excited about where the Parks and Recs is going to go for the town. And I want us to be one that stands above in the rest of the county. Experience-wise, I'm professional. I'm a realtor. So I'm, again, excited about what Andrew's doing. This is where I live, go to church, all those things. So I'm super excited about that. I also work with our state political coordinator for my association, so I know a lot of legislative. I know that there's parts that we can get funding for, that new park and new things. Have participated in writing grants before because I started and run a nonprofit for pediatric cancer patients. So I think I come with a lot of experience, not just being someone that enjoys being there, but the full growth of the things that we need for the progression of the next couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Got any questions for me?
I don't. Does anyone else?
I'm excited. I started A-Town Lowdown a couple of years ago.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Came here, and many people just in support of the town Parks and Recs with Derek and Austin and Ty and all that was there, just because I see the great need for the expansion of the new place. Just with more people coming, we just, that was one of the reasons that I started that organization for a positivity forum for us. So it's something that I've been working with for quite some time and certainly want to be a part of.
Well, thank you for wanting to be a part of this.
Absolutely.
And thank you for coaching.
Not if I have a choice.
Once you start, you can't stop.
All right, we're going to move on to Connor Wade Hout. And if I said that wrong, you can correct me too. All right, good. Yes. Tell us about yourself, sir.
My name is Connor Wade Haupt. I graduated from Northern Arizona University in 2018 with a degree in Parks and Recreation Management. Before that, I was working for the city of San Diego in California for 5 years, working at Parks and Recreation as a recreation leader, managing youth sports, adult sports, like young adult groups, that kind of stuff. Worked at Northern Arizona University in their Parks and Recreation department. It's just something I'm really passionate about and really love working in. My parents worked in it. My brother works in it. it's a family legacy to work in it.
Sounds great. I'm glad that you would offer your passion to help us with this. So thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions for him? Thank you.
Thank you.
Last on our list is Neil Thornton. You were here before me. Overachiever.
I just calendared it wrong.
All right, tell us some about yourself.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Neil Thornton. I serve as the pastor at Coates Baptist Church. I've been there for 7 years. I live in Anger. Married with 3 children. All 3 of our kids have been heavily involved in Anger rec sports. I've coached a little bit along the way. We want to give back to the community. We see the flourishing of Anger. We're pro-family, pro-growth. I feel like I perhaps could have something to do to help. So I'm here to serve if you'd like.
All right. Thank you very much for offering to help out.
Thank you for coaching.
We appreciate all of our coaches. We'll just put that out there. All right. That is all of our interviews. So we need to fill this board with 7 members. And before we get started on that, thank every one of you who've applied. We're so honored that you would want to step up and help be a part of all of this stuff. Without you guys, Derek would be running all of this, and we'd be in trouble. So, just kidding. Derek does a great job, but Derek has asked for some help and guidance in this. So, thank you for offering that. We will. You let us know if we need to slow down.
So I want to just notate that 4 members are going to be 3-year terms, and 3 members are going to be 2-year terms.
Correct.
So we'll make that designation at the appointment, so you'll know if you're a 3 or a 2.
Yes.
Did you want to just run down all the 3s first? You think that would be easier? Okay. So we'll start with nominations and voting on the 4 3-year seats. Go.
I make a motion we appoint Karen Williams to a 3-year term on the Parks and Rec Board.
If there's no discussion, I don't imagine we'll have a lot of discussion. Do you guys think we're going to have discussion? Okay. Then all those in favor of Karen Dupree Williams, raise your hand. That's unanimous. Thank you, Karen.
I make a motion that we appoint Amy Dragata as a 3-year term member.
All right. All those in favor, raise your hand. That's unanimous. Thank you, Amy.
I'll pick Chuck Carey for a 3-year term. Oh, I make a motion. I'm sorry.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah, I was picking it up.
That's all right. What we're all here for. All right. All those in favor of Chuck Carey for a 3-year term, raise your hand. Unanimous. Thank you, Chuck.
I'll make a motion we appoint Neil Thornton to a 3-year term on the Parks and Rec Board.
Hang on, wait. We've already got. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think we're good. This is our
3.
last
Okay.
3-year seat, and then we'll do 3 2-year
Okay.
seats. So all those in favor of Neil Thornton for the last 3-year seat, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Thank you, Neil. Now we will move on to 3 2-year seats. And not that you are less important, just we have to stagger the seats so we can rotate appointments on a new board. So
I make a motion that we appoint Connor Wade Haupt. Did I say that? For a 2-year term.
all right, all those in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Thank you, Connor.
I make a motion we appoint Christine Ganji to a 2-year term on the Parks and Rec Board.
All right, all those in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Thank you.
I make a motion that we appoint Walter Honeycutt to a 2-year term.
All those in favor, raise your hand. That's unanimous. Thank you, Walter. if you are not appointed tonight, we still very much appreciate your willingness to be a part of this. We hope that you continue to apply for positions like this when they become available. But we only had 7 seats, so thank you. All right. Moving on, number 5. Elizabeth will talk to us about an employee appreciation picnic.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. Several of you have mentioned holding an employee appreciation picnic and needed some more information from me, and then also we need 2 commissioners to lead the event. There's already $5,400 budgeted in the employee appreciation line in our budget. And so if you wish to move forward with this request, I would ask that you nominate 2 commissioners to work with me in getting the event planned.
Okay. Sounds good. I don't have any questions. Anyone have any questions?
Do you have like a time frame when you're wanting to plan this? Like when to host it?
That can be up to you all.
Okay.
May is typically the month when public service employees are recognized. So there's Police Week, Public Works Week, Clerks Week. So May might be good, but we're already in March, so it sort of depends upon your schedule as well.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Do we have any volunteers?
I'll volunteer.
I would also like to volunteer, but I can't nominate myself. I'm just putting that out there.
I'll nominate you.
Thank you, Jim.
I'll volunteer.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay.
I feel like you're going to have a say anyway, right?
I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. I don't even care. I withdraw my volunteering. So all right. Well, we need a nomination to vote on. So someone give us a nomination. Can't do it.
Do you need a motion at all?
Do you need a motion? Or?
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Plenty
Cool,
of help.
Then we're good. All right. Number 6 is a consideration of a resolution to censure Commissioner LaRue Hawley. Before I read that, the purpose of a censure does not have any legal weight behind it. It does not restrict anyone's actions. It doesn't prevent them from being a part of discussion or voting. It doesn't carry any real legal weight. It is simply a statement that a board makes, an official statement that it is dissatisfied or otherwise unhappy with a board member's conduct. It's a statement to say that this one board member doesn't represent the board as a whole. So it's just, that's all it is. With that, I'm going to read the resolution and then we'll have discussion and we'll go from there. The resolution is the official censure of LaRue Hawley, Commissioner, Town of Anger, North Carolina. Whereas the Town of Anger Mayor and Board of Commissioners hereby censure LaRue Hawley, Commissioner, Town of Anger, North Carolina, for continued and repeated displays of disrespect, actions, and demeaning communication towards the Town of Anger Board of Commissioners, Town of Anger Manager and staff, members of the public and local business owners, and for conduct that this board deems inappropriate and unbecoming. And whereas, on several occasions, Commissioner Hawley did not adhere to the guidelines for governing, a set of rules and acceptable conduct created by this Board of Commissioners, including herself, and adopted by a majority of the board. Firstly, her refusal to vote to adopt the guidelines for governing. Additionally, and especially, her refusal to comply with several board of the board and mayor of the board expectations set out in those guidelines, to be expanded upon below. And whereas for the guideline, support all decisions of the board, including those you opposed, Commissioner Hawley has repeatedly failed to support several decisions, including but not limited to those she took part in the discussion of, and in some cases approved herself, most notably ABC and advisory board appointments, and the purchase and subsequent repairs of the Town Hall Annex building. And whereas for the guideline, let go of what and how things have happened in the past and move forward toward a better future, Commissioner Hawley has repeatedly failed to allow the board to move forward together as a team, often referring to contentious occurrences in the past, and warning other board members and members of the public not to trust each other, certain town staff, and the police department. And whereas for the guidelines support each other in staff and provide leadership, Commissioner Hawley has repeatedly failed to act in a way that adheres to these guidelines, not limited to her agreement to and later failure to attend the UNC School of Government municipal government classes in order to learn collectively the proper way to conduct ourselves, town business, and perform our duties. And whereas for the guideline, be an ambassador to the town, the board has been made aware of countless encounters between Commissioner Hawley and other Board of Commissioner members, town staff, members of the public, and local business owners, not limited to derogative comments about local businesses to members of the public in a public setting, disruptive and disrespectful behavior as a member of the audience at several ABC board meetings, engaging in altercations with members of the public and local business owners in a public setting on several occasions, in some cases rising to a level of intimidation and threatening behavior that creates an uneasy or unsafe environment, threatening comments and behavior toward other members of the Board of Commissioners and appointed boards, and a comment to all other Board of Commissioner members where she clearly expressed that she did not want to be here anymore. And whereas the board has been made aware of several situations where Commissioner Hawley has displayed disdain and an undermining attitude toward town staff, not limited to advising other board members that certain town staff could not be trusted, failure or refusal to address questions about agenda items with town staff in an effort to allow them to be better prepared for those concerns during the public meeting, refusing to cooperate with town staff because of self-described personal issues that would prevent Commissioner Hawley from making staff decisions in an objective manner, and sharing private personnel issues of no less than 5 current or former town employees with members of the public. And whereas the board has recognized a general lack of respect and decorum from Commissioner Hawley during closed session meetings, to include shouting, the use of foul and sometimes threatening language, striking the bench with her hand, and other belligerent behavior that is not conducive to a fair, cooperative, and inclusive discussion, and that the board finds to be inappropriate behavior for someone of her stature on this board. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town of Andrew Mayor and Board of Commissioners is officially and for the record censuring Commissioner LaRue Hawley regarding the above conduct, and any failure to correct said behavior would result in further action deemed necessary and appropriate per the Board of Commissioners. So as of right now, this is a resolution that has not been adopted. It is something that we must do in an open meeting. It is not something that we can do behind closed doors. We have to discuss it, and it has to be motioned and voted on like any other resolution from this board. At this time, I'll see if any commissioners have anything to add, and then we'll give Ms. Hawley a chance to make a statement about this. All right. Ms. Hawley, if you have anything to add?
If it pleases the board, can I please have somebody read this? It's a statement that I did myself. Dan, would you like to read it? I'll read it. I'll read it best I can. I'll get a motion. In light of the fact that prior to the board meeting making the censure resolution available online last evening, I had no knowledge of this content, no ability to rebut or confront the anonymous sources of information giving rise to these accusations contained therein, and no opportunity to vote on this presentment or its adoption. I wish at this time to respond briefly to the actions of this board tonight. When I was elected to join the board, there was a talk of unity and transparency. I do not take this to mean that unity requires agreeing with other board members on every issue and vote. I took this to mean working towards a betterment of Andrew. I do not take transparency to mean sharing of information and opinion behind closed doors with certain factions and cliques with board members or mayor office, but rather that all businesses and actions by the board should be open to debate and publicly scrutiny so that the citizens of Angier might feel like their thoughts and concerns were being addressed in a free and open manner. One need not look further than the first allegation contained in the resolution that I did not vote to adopt the rules by which this board wishes for me to form their club to see the non-conformity in what is the root of the problem. The fact that anonymous sources were gobbled together by unnamed authors of this resolution, providing no means by which to assess the merits, truthfulness, and motive of any of the participants shows a complete lack of concern for the notion of fairness. They even chastised me by failing to go to a training that I previously attended when I first was elected, omitting the fact that my actions saved the town by not having to pay for this mini retreat that served no purpose. The censure resolution presented tonight is little more than an airing of petty grievances against me by the other members of the board in an effort to make me conform or to be silenced. This was meant to embarrass me and harass, and it was meant to quiet the voice of dissent. It will not be accomplished. It will not accomplish any of these goals. I was not elected by the board. I was elected by the citizens of Angier, and is to them that I owe my allegiance to. I took an oath to faithfully and dutifully serve my constituents, and that is what I will continue to do. If this means disagreeing with the other board members, then I will disagree. If it means agreeing with their actions proposed by the board, it will be my obligation to do that also. I did not run for this office so that I could be a member of the popularity cult, but rather so that I could work to move this town that I love forward. I will continue to do so openly and proudly with the acceptance of good practice and ideas and resistance to bad ones. This is the pledge that I give to the citizens of Angier. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hawley. Is there any other discussion about this resolution? Then I will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
I will note just one procedural issue. Under the rules of procedure that we have as a board, Commissioner Hawley would be voting on this motion unless she voluntarily recuses herself or the board votes to recuse her.
It was my understanding that we could vote without her consent to recuse her from this vote.
A majority vote. Yes.
It is not my interest to do that tonight, but if other board members have an opinion on that, I will certainly entertain it.
I only raise the issue because our rules of procedure call for potential recusal if the motion is about a board member's conduct. So this would be implicated there if the board so chooses.
Of course. Are you interested to voluntarily recuse yourself? No. Okay.
I make a motion we ask Commissioner Hawley to recuse herself from the vote on the resolution.
All right. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed? It's 3-1. She will recuse herself. Thank you, Dane.
Without any further discussion, I'll make a motion we approve the resolution to censure Commissioner Lou Hawley.
All those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Thank you. All right, we will move on to the manager's report and any other reports from staff. I don't know if the staff has any, but we'll start with Elizabeth.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank our Public Works Department for their work in getting the Planning Department moved and for getting the building ready. The landscaping looks excellent, so thank you to Jimmy and to his staff. Our staff is working on budgets and several of the proposals that you all have directed us to work on. So it is a busy time of year around town. I wanted to give an update on the strategic plan. We held a community forum on February 20th to gather input from citizens on what they see as the most important priorities of the town. Mr. Jackson's compiling the data and will present that to you at the March 19th meeting. This will serve as a first reading so that citizens may review the document and provide further input at our April 2nd meeting, and then it will be adopted at a later date, the workshop meeting in April. So we have moved into the annex building, and it looks lovely, and we will be holding a ribbon cutting on March 18th at 10 a.m., and everyone is invited to attend and see the new home of the planning department. As far as an update on the police department project, the application has been completed, and the preliminary architecture report is in process. It's being reviewed by the town's engineer at this time.
Thank you for that. So they're out of the Gord Museum, if you haven't noticed that. Alan, I told you they'd be in that building. Are there any other staff reports tonight? It's all in the agenda if you guys ever care to see. They do always give us staff reports. We don't always ask them to speak just in the interest of time, but it's always in the agenda for anyone who cares to read those updates. I don't have much for my mayor and town board report. I do want to mention that ribbon cutting for our town hall annex again is March 18th at 10 a.m. If you care to come see it, we'd love to have you there. And it seems like kind of old news. If you don't already know, we did attend Mr. Kazakavage, Miss Harmon, Miss Strickland, and I, and Elizabeth attended some UNC classes together for a couple of days about 2 weeks ago. And I learned a lot from it, being new in this, so I very much appreciated the opportunity. We made connections with people at the School of Government and the League of Municipalities that will help us do our jobs for you guys the right way. I think even Mr. Kazakavage, who has been through this before, still said he had some new things to learn, so I'm especially happy that you joined us there for that year. With that, we are going to go into a closed session pursuant to NCGS 143-318.11 A3 and 6 to consult with our town attorney and personnel. I'm going to ask you, hasn't been too long of a night, but we're not going to hang around too long in here. We all would love to just chat for a moment and then head out while we do closed session, if you guys don't mind. Thank you.
Make a motion we go into...
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Make a motion we go into closed session.
All those in favor?